in proper architecture and how to look at, for example, climate change issues, how to look at renewable energy and food security. We should also remember that one of the flagship projects of this government, which President Leone, is feed Sierra Leone, feed people. And therefore, food cultivation, rice cultivation, and other food is but a necessity. It's but very necessary for this government. So 7 million, I believe, new Leones is fine, and I'm sure the institution, the office created, will be able to put proper architecture in place so that in the next 6 months, and we advocate probably in the original budget, given the importance of that office, that when the original budget comes to this house, we'll know what to do. Also, the ministry, it was Ministry of Information and Communication before now, but it has been divided. And there is a Ministry of Communication, Technology and Innovation, and there is a Ministry of Information and Civic Education. So definitely, once that divide has been made, there must be funds for those ministries to run those offices properly. And so an amount of 4 million has been allocated to the Ministry of Communication and Technology in this supplementary budget, and enable the new ministry so created to be able to do their job properly and effectively, so that they meet the needs of the people, the public, and the president. Similarly, so there has been a 45,200,000 allocated to the Ministry of Health.
Mr. Speaker, sorry, I want to stand on SO52. 10 minutes past 12. I therefore move that we suspend SO52 so the business of the House will continue. Thank you.
Thank the Chief Whip and seconder to that motion.
I so second, Mr.
And all in favor of that motion say aye. Those against say nay. There is have it. You may continue, former chair of the Finance Committee.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. And so the Ministry of Health, definitely monies were appropriated in the 2022 budget. But as we all know, that is a very huge ministry. The expectation of Sierra Leoneans on our head is so much, and we know the challenges in the ministry across the whole country. So additional funding of 45,200,000 has been allocated. We need the Ministry of Health to create more buildings, more health infrastructure and architecture across the whole country, to employ more nurses, to give more people out, and to equip our regional and peripheral units across the whole country. So all of these need huge investment, huge capital. So the funding allocated, I'm sure, was insufficient. So in the wisdom of the minister, they will decide to allocate this such money. The Ministry of Energy. The Ministry of Energy, the entire energy architecture we see across the whole country is doing so well. Either they are doing transformers here today, or they are doing copper lines across, and they are continuing to provide electricity to towns and villages across the country. But we are not there yet. They need more work to be done. And so in the supplementary budget, a sum of 775,793,400 have been allocated to the Ministry of Energy. And we all know that to provide energy is a capital-intensive job. So such a huge and chunk of the monies have been allocated. And we are pretty sure and very confident that the minister and his team will continue to do just what the arenas are expecting for them to make electricity reliable, sustainable, and to continue to provide electricity across all the townships, the villages, and everywhere electricity is required. Equally so, in the manifesto of the President, he said he will be providing 500,000 jobs for the next 5 years. That is to say, 100,000 jobs per year. That is a very serious matter. And we will now see the Ministry of Labour and Employment created. Before now, it was just Ministry of Labour and Social Security. So they need additional funding to be able to live up to the manifesto promise of the President. For an additional fund of 2,500,000 has been provided to the supplementary budget to be able to provide or to address the challenges or the issues there with regards to employment, and to look at all the variables that are making employment very, very difficult in this country and to address them. The Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, of course, the entire education ministry, both basic and higher education, has been the flagship project of the President. And 22% of GDP has been allocated to that in the past 5 years. And that does not necessarily because food security, others have been the flagship project. The education aspect will not be ignored. And so the Ministry of Higher Education is being allocated 12,000 in this additional funding in the supplementary budget to be able to continue to provide services to the poor, to students, to the universities, to the colleges, to youth training centers, and so forth and so on. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, these are some of the examples which the Ministry of Finance have seen necessary, to which adequate funds have been provided in the 2023 budget, or to which there has been no funding because those ministries were not there before, and the need for the supplementary budget. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, the supplementary budget as presented is but very simple and straightforward budget. I haven't seen any ambiguities or difficulties in it. It's straightforward, and as the People's Parliament, we expect members of Parliament, of course, to debate as provided for in 69.3, but on the point, and to be very concise, and confine themselves to the debate as provided. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I wish to bring to the knowledge of members of Parliament that as rightly prepared in standing orders, we will not be going to the committee stage because this is not the actual annual budget. This is basically the supplementary budget, and that is the addendum to the original budget that was presented to Parliament. This is brought as the Minister of Enumerated Reasons and as I have presented. So after the debate, definitely the question will be put for the third bill and the passage of the budget. But this is for a very simple budget, and we encourage members of Parliament to debate, to look at the issues, but eventually for us to think Sierra Leone and pass this budget into law and allow the Ministry of Finance and the government to go implement all of this. I thank you so much for listening. Thank you.
Honorable members, allow me before I give any one of you the floor. There are certain basics that we all need to know and understand. And this goes especially for the new members. You are not members of Parliament, and you may not have known the importance of your office as a member of Parliament until you came to this house. Let me be very, very simple, the way I'll present it. There are three arms of government. Parliament is one branch, one arm of government. And you've got enormous powers. No matter what you may hear people say, you have the power of the boss. The executive arm has no money except what you give them. That is the fundamental principle. If you don't give them money, they have nothing. The money that you give them is what they have to spend in carrying out the functions of government for the people of Sierra Leone. And you are about to exercise one of the key powers that you have. The power to legislate, the power to oversee the government activities, and the power to give them money, in addition to the power of representation that you have of your people or of your districts. So don't minimize that power that you carry with you. If you don't give, they do not have. They cannot spend unless you approve. Even when they go outside of this country and get loans and gifts, they have to come and report to you. It's clearly indicated here in this Constitution. And I would urge all of you to spend time to read this Constitution to understand it. Now, before you came, we've adopted a new act called the Parliament Act of 2023. It is now law. What that act seeks to do is to implement a provision of the Constitution that is important to this Parliament. And that provision is contained in section 74(4). Even before approving the annual budget, Parliament has the power to approve its own budget first. We've never done it under this Constitution. But now the Parliament Act, for the first time, we're going to be doing so next time. It is not for the executive to give us money. It is for Parliament to allocate to itself the money it needs to run. That is the law. And it's contained in 74(4). Even when a minister goes out to negotiate a loan or to beg for money, he must come and report to this Parliament. And that is contained in section 118. Let me read it out. Parliament shall be notified by the appropriate minister or authority of all gifts, donations, grants, and pledges made to the state of Sierra Leone. I'm glad that some ministers are seated here to my left and right. And I'm drawing this to their attention because some of them go and negotiate loans and gifts and they never come to this Parliament to report. And that is wrong. When you go out and do oversight duties, these are some of the questions you must address to the ministers. How much money have you received on behalf of the state of Sierra Leone as a loan or a gift? If they tell you the amount, ask the supplementary question, have you reported it to Parliament? That money is not given to them, it's given to the state. And the power to control that money, how it is used, is vested in this House of Parliament. There is separation of powers. We have our own, the executive has its own. Of course, the judiciary, you know, their power is to interpret the law. So these are some of the basic things you need to understand. So you carry tremendous power in your hands, members of Parliament. For this time, we're going to allow the minister to have his way. But at the same time, I'm giving him warning now. Come next year, he must first of all come and negotiate a separate budget for this Parliament before even coming here with his national budget. The national budget was passed long before you were elected members of Parliament. Because the financial year runs from January 1 to December 31. So we passed the 2023 budget towards the end of last year. I think it was November, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the minister is before us to seek a supplementary budget for two things. Either to cover the gaps for which allocation was made in the 2023 but found to be insufficient, or no allocation was made at all for a particular area of expenditure. This is why it's here. This is why it is called supplementary budget. The main budget is already in existence. It was passed last year and is in operation. So these are some of the fundamental things that you as members of Parliament need to know, because the power belongs to you, representing the people of this country. I've been Mr. King, who is the veteran, is on the reservoir of knowledge in this Parliament, has drawn my attention to more powers, additional powers that you have. But I'll leave those for another day. Let us focus for the time being on this supplementary budget. So, Mr. Minister, we're going to be very kind to you to overlook the Parliament Act and allow you to have the supplementary you are seeking, but also be forewarned that this Parliament, from now on, has made a huge progress in implementing the provisions of 74(4). Never again will this Parliament be treated as if it is an indigent. We don't go around begging. You should come round to us begging, not the other way around. We have the money, and we provide you the resources to run the state and the government. That's the power you hold as members of Parliament. If you didn't know that before, know it now. The floor is open.
Thank you very much, Mr. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speakers, colleagues, Honorable Members of Parliament. Today, history is repeating itself. July 2018, there was a supplementary budget in this House. And we added our voices to it, and we endorsed it, and it helped the state. Because we met a very battered economy, something that nothing to write home about. And I want to confess to this House that when I came in, I was worried. My colleague called me initially bailout. I thought we are here to help this nation to bail out, to come out of poverty, because the situation was so appalling that even when we went to the canteen, the manner in which we took our lunch was very appalling. So, but today, here we are, 2023. And Mr. Speaker, Honorable Speaker, with your leave, I just want to reflect a little bit on 2018 when we did the supplementary budget, July 2018. When we did that, on that,
you provided
indeed, 69 days, sir. I want to assure you that I will take note of that.
History is important, but that history
I know, sir.
should relate to what is before the other.
Indeed, I will do my comparative analysis to make sure that we are on the right track, sir. 2018, the supplementary budget was 3,523,219,500. In another terms, at the exchange rate at that time, which was 7,500 leone, will be like $469.8 million. And when we come to today's supplementary budget, we have here our humble and landed Minister of Finance. It's just $189 million, which is 594,700, and in dollar terms is $189 million. When we do the comparative analysis, I sat in the library this morning, is that when you do the two figure, you take the first 2018 and 2023, you have a drop down of $280.9 million, meaning that we have dropped our supplementary by 59.8%, meaning that we are in the right direction, and that we have men and women who are well informed and who are well talented to make sure that we cannot just keep on coming with a budget of higher figure. In the last budget speech, somebody said to me, leave figure, because we are the one who study figure. It is true, but also it's to leave figure people who have dealt with money and who have money. So it is not a formula that you have to deal with it because you have it. Honorable Speaker, colleague, honorable members of Parliament, when I look at this 2023 supplementary budget, there are 4 thematic areas I cited. One was the energy, and by the way, I asked my energy reservoir, the spokesman for the energy committee, I asked him, I said, that figure they are saying, 60% of the energy, we have from 16% to 35%. I said, I'm not sure about that figure. I believe that we are far above that, because many places in Sierra Leone today can boast of electricity. And some of them can even tell you that I have to switch off my refrigerator so that the cooling system will not spoil my food. So I believe that it is out this figure. And when I look at the figure, is $39.78 million to be added in this project. Honorable Speaker, colleague members of Parliament, one of the areas I saw again in this supplementary budget is the debt payment. About 22 years ago, I was doing my master's at University College London. One of the key areas I emphasize on is that debt in the developing countries. And I look at low-income countries, and Sierra Leone was one of the poorest among the poor. And one of the key emphases, which I even went to the House of Commons of United Kingdom to lobby about that. What about if you cancel all these highly indebted countries and you come up with a soft loan that will attract a very minimal interest rate so that the people will have the opportunity to grow? And through the Honorable Member of Parliament, Andrew Rowe, and many other people who also added their voices to it, and we, during President Kaba of blessed memory. We enjoy that. And today, when I saw this the supplementary budget, there is public debt charges of $49.8 million. You have to excuse me of giving it. I find it very comfortable to deal with United States dollars, because the other figures, I respect it, I respect my currency, but the figures are just too bloated. To me, I consider it another form of slavery. No matter how hard we work, we are challenged. If you look at the exchange rate 2018 and the exchange rate today, we are just in another form of slavery. It doesn't matter. We have all the commodities coming from here, and it's manufactured elsewhere. But again, when it comes to us, the prices are highly bloated. So we have to bear up with that. But as a responsible ministry, as a responsible government, and as a responsible members of parliament, we find it very interesting that this ministry budget will propose to us that we have to approve $43.8 million to service our debt. And one of the thematic areas I saw on this particular document is salaries and wages. An empty bag cannot stand, Mr. Speaker. As we are seated here, every now and again, colleagues are watching their phone so that there will be alert coming. But alert is yet to come. So that is what you say in the undertone, but it is not in the actual fact. You'll be expecting that. Honorable Speaker, colleague members of Parliament, another area that we look at that is so demanding on us is the roads. We have done our extremely well for in the past years, governments after government, and especially our time for the past 5 years. Many roads have been constructed and many bridges have been constructed. We have connected to one another to make sure that we have that freedom of movement from one place to another, and we have also our services, our goods, we have access to the market. And therefore, when I saw this on the supplementary for budgets, the various developmental activities role, $34.480 million, I believe that we are on the right track, and I believe that we will do the needful. And as a representative of both districts and from a very humble village, Bongo Jama and Wonde, I have no doubt that men and women to the Ministry of Finance have done their best, and it is left with us that we do the needful to this document. On that note, Honorable Speaker, colleague members of Parliament, I urge my colleagues that we debate this document and we speedily approve the document. Thank you, Honorable Speaker and colleague members.
Thank you, Honorable Member. In a nutshell, it's reminding us to always remember to produce what we eat and eat what we produce. That will help us conserve our foreign exchange to buy foreign food. Grow what you eat and eat what you grow. Forget about what other people produce and sell to you. Madam, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, like my colleague said, today is another day, and if possible, not a difficult day. From what I heard the minister said, analyzing, I was confused, because for some of us, like some others in this house, to do mathematics is very, very difficult. It's a very difficult job if you don't know, because anything you are doing that has to do with finance is very difficult. It has to do with your blood. It has to do with your life. So, you know, I really admire the minister, the way he was analyzing what they had done and what they plan to do, which for me is very good, because as a responsible government under our great SLPP, they always appoint responsible people that know what they are doing. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to join my former chairman finance to say kudos to the ministry and even the president for the establishment of the Presidential Initiative for Climate Change, Renewable Energy and Food Security. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, anybody tell you that food security, renewable energy and climate change is not important in this 21st century, maybe that person is not alive. But I'm telling you, the world all over today, people are fighting to see how they will put an end to climate change or even mitigate the issues surrounding climate change. And if today we are having a separate initiative to deal with climate change, renewable energy and food security, I believe that's a laudable intervention. And it's good that the Ministry of Finance has allocated this amount to this particular initiative, which for me is very close to my heart. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, also looking at the thematic areas for the ministries that they have divided, that is Ministry of Information and Civic Education, and also Ministry of Communication and Technology. It's good, but looking at the figures allocated to them, I want the minister to also look at the challenges these two ministries will face in terms of divide. If you look, they will have a lot to do to separate these two offices. I know this is just for the rest of the year, but looking at it again, they should really look at it and see how they can engage these two ministers, these two new ministers, to see whether they can add to these amounts. I don't know their budgets internally, but I think dividing two ministries, having them to work separately costs a lot. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I can remember also on the 8th of July 2021, you know, we finalized the discussion around the Kono University. But Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I know we've gone far with this Kono University thing. And we are expecting in Kono by now we'll have started an introductory course, you know, using other buildings so that we start, even if the buildings have not finished. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to tell this house that government has tried, they have renovated 2 buildings. The one is the Poa secondary school, and also the Riba, the former Riba Hotel, for the preliminary classes to start. We've started this discussion since 2021. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to tell you that there were 3 things we campaign on as our message. Number 1 is energy. The CLSG in Kono, we told our people that our government has brought energy And like my colleague said, there are now people using their freezers, their food are even going beyond over freezing. And also we discuss about, we campaign on the road leading from Kwedu to Guinea border. We also talk about the Kono University. Our brothers on the other side, the APC, they said, no, our government is lying. If not, let the people wait. They went to the radio and said, since they started, okay, the APC, yes, the APC, Mohamed Bangura, they said since this Kono University thing started, nobody have seen anything working except the buildings, but no classes have started. Well, we went to the Dr. Samamonde was appointed as the coordinator to start preliminary classes. But Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we are still appealing. Now we saw the allocation to the Ministry of Technical and Higher Education, under which the Kono University is located, which is 12,000 new loans. 12 million new loans. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, we, the people of Kono, we are appealing that this supplementary budget, this 12 million new loans that has been allocated to the technical and also the minister, see the minister here, the minister is also from Kono, Mr. Speaker, and even you are from Kono. A lot of people here are hailing from Kono. Please, the president in his speech all the time in Kono said he wants to put a stop to the historical injustice being put on Kono. And if that is so, all of us should work to ensure that the president's promise to Kono is being fulfilled. Mr. Minister, please, I will not say I'm on my knees, but please, sir, I want you and your efforts to please look into how you can do this subvention so that classes will start in September. On this note, I'm encouraging all members of Parliament to look at this supplementary budget and speedily approve it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Speaker, point of order. Yes. Mr. Speaker, I quickly want to draw the attention of my colleagues to FO 69.3 so that we can keep putting the supplementary budget frame to work on what he has presented. Because otherwise, I'm seeing us going in different directions. Different. So, I don't want you to keep to
Let's agree on the time limit. 5. Accepted. Let's take note. So let me exhaust the members on my right here. You have the floor followed by the energy man. And then I'll come to the middle. So I'll spend 15 minutes here.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I'm really not going to disappoint. I'm going to keep mine very, very short. I want to commend the minister and his team. I have unshakable faith in all of you based on how we work together in this parliament. Well, you really mentioned that one of the main purposes of this project is to align the budget to the big 5 priority areas. I want to zoom in to the votes 201, 206, 207. Ministry of Defense, Sierra Leone Police, Sierra Leone Correctional Services. We're talking about agricultural productivity. We're requesting 106,600,000 for the military, 148 million for the police, and 47 the rest of it for correctional services. Now that we're talking about working on the big 5, I want to encourage you and your team, and also maybe from Parliament here, for us to see how the military, the police, and correctional services can help boost agricultural activities. We have people that will be feeding in the correctional services maybe for the next 30, 40 years. How long are we going to do that? And they're there. We keep all of them in there, and we have 500 acres of land, or maybe hectares of land in Mapalata. What are we doing? So, Mr. Speaker earlier on said we have to produce what we eat. What we eat.
And eat what we produce.
Yes, and eat what we produce. So I think getting these 3 institutions to help is more or less for you to succeed in governance on the issue of active participation and total involvement of key institutions. So I think let's look at that. Then the other aspect I'll look at is development activities, the roads. We have so many incomplete roads at the moment. For us to succeed in most of the things mentioned under the big 5, roads are still a priority. So, honorable members, I think we don't have to waste time on this project. It's very important for the early running of our business. So I want to crave on your indulgence for us to speedily approve this budget for the business of governance to continue. Thank you very much.
I thank the honorable member. I give the floor here.
Well, you have 2 minutes.
The member from Police.
2 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me the
Another member.
authority to have some bite on this very important budget. I want to thank the Minister of Finance and his team for putting this piece together for the approval of this honorable house. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in his statement, he made mention of SOE, state-owned enterprises. I want to talk on that a little. Mr. Speaker, even when we're in secondary school, it is clear that public enterprises are established to provide basic services for the citizens. They are not there to maximize profit. But as a business-minded person, no matter which business you set up, whether state-owned, private business, it is geared towards maximization of profit. Practically, but in theory, you don't do that. Now, he made mention of the SOEs, the low performance of SOEs, putting more burden on the budget. One such one is EDSA. The only thing I wanted, maybe the minister would have expanded more, because we have a lot of SOEs, make mention of some. Then we'll look into them. Why are they performing below expectation? Like for EXA, of course that is clear, he knows the reasons. We are buying tariff at 21.5 cents kilowatt hour, and we are selling it at 11 cents kilowatt hour. Mr. Speaker, how are you going to maximize profit? You cannot even break even. There is an income loss of 10.5 cents kilowatt hour, but our kilowatt hour, there's an income loss here. So you don't expect to maximize profit in any way. You cannot even break even. Let us don't talk about maximizing profit. And number two, he also made mention of the technical and commercial losses. Of course, that is glaring, Mr. Speaker. And that is a fight we all should come on board to do that one. Whether World Bank come with all the monies in this country to help us fight that one, it needs the effort of every Sierra Leoneans. Because people, we are living in communities, people are illegally connected. We know them. We don't let the public to know that these people are illegally connected. So that is not a one-man fight. It's going to be a fight for everybody. And Mr. Speaker, the other thing again, for us to reduce this burden, we should have our own generations. Let us not depend on IPPs. As this is happening now, the CLSG, the more to talk about CLSG, we depend on Bo and Kenema are in total blackouts now, because there's a problem on the transmission line in Liberia. So Bo and Kenema do not have electricity as I speak to you. But if we have our own system, like the Goma to do, if it is in full operation, we will not even bother about CLSG. So government should do everything humanly possible. Let us have our own system fixed. It is capital intensive, it is accepted, but we can do it gradually. Maybe the other thing again, Mr. Speaker, we should try to do to overcome that or to combat that situation. And we do not have an industrialized economy. That's another fact. Most of the consumers are low-income brackets. They are falling within the low-income bracket. It is now EXA is negotiating with mining companies to get them connected, where we get thousands of dollars. And the danger here is, again, the IPPs are paying in foreign currency. We pay them in dollars. And we sell in Leone. How are we going to maximize profit? There's no way we are going to do that. But Mr. Speaker, the minister here is a friend of Parliament. He made mentions that they are doing everything humanly possible to come up with a bill here. That bill will find way how they will be supervising the state-owned enterprises. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Minister of Finance, you have to be very careful when you are putting that bill together. Otherwise, when it comes here, it will mean it's stiffest resistance. Because you should not also usurp powers. Supervision role is the responsibility of Parliament. When you have problem with these MOEs, maybe you can put it in the bill. Give the responsibility to Parliament to perform its supervision. You cannot be the player at the same time you are the ref. So that is just a warning. You have to take your time when you are preparing that bill. Mr. Speaker, I want to come to agriculture quickly. We want to feed ourselves. We really want to feed ourselves, and it's very important. Mr. Speaker, when I was a very small boy, when I was in primary school, I had my grandfather, one of my grandfathers, Pagodo, he does not eat white rice. He does not eat white rice at all. We are not working. Everybody do not want to work again. When you go to school and stop at Form 3, they want to come to urban centers and look for offices with ACs, even though they do not have the requirement. But if government creates an encouragement, then we will definitely hit what we want to hit. Mr. Speaker, it will surprise you to know, government is spending money on agriculture, but most of the inputs, the agricultural inputs, are supplied to farmers after the time has come. Let us assume you are doing upland farming. People are supposed to plow in April and May. If you give inputs to farmers for upland farming in August, September, what's that for? For them to just eat it. We will not maximize yield. So that one, Mr. Minister of Finance, thank God you are a friend of Parliament. That is more the reason why you have to strengthen this Parliament. So we'll help you with robust oversight to make sure where all these monies are spent are judiciously used. Otherwise, you will spend the money, nobody will know. On that note, Mr. Speaker, maybe the last one, the micro enterprises, he made mention of 10,889 beneficiaries. Mr. Speaker, 72% of those beneficiaries are women. It is a laudable one, but this also the minister, if I ask the finance committee chairman now, he was not updated on that. So we want ministries to operate with parliament. So wherever you are going, the parliament will also be in position to know what this ministry has performed. That is why I'm standing here now to defend the Ministry of Energy, because I know what they are doing. Thank you. On that note, I want to thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to have to take a part in the all important debates.
Let me just amplify one point of what is by the last speaker. Mr. Minister, if SOE is a burden on the treasury, why not get rid of it to the private sector? Why continue to keep SOEs that are not profitable, that are not performing? Because you're just compounding your own problem. Get rid of them. The private sector is a better place to make them profitable. Madam, you have the floor. Are you still there?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I am Honorable Maria Mamunia Zumbo from Pujo District. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, let me first of all congratulate the Minister of Finance for profoundly elaborating on the Supplementary Appropriation Act 2023.
That's so small.
Focusing on vote 129, which is allocation to Ministry of Finance, I would like to thank, first of all, the government of Sierra Leone in His Excellency's first term for prioritizing gender-responsive budgeting and interventions linked to cash transfers, small, medium enterprises, etc., for financial independence of women, particularly. Like my colleague said, Honorable said, 72% of the 10,889 beneficiaries of Munafa are women. However, I hope that the supplementary budget will aid the broadening of the geographical scope and number of beneficiaries this time in the next 5 years, in line as prescribed by the Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Act 2022, sections 7 and 8, subsections 2 of each, which focuses on providing, the ministry providing procedures and processes for improving access to finance for women and facilitating fiscal administration policies for national gender budgeting. We have been encouraging our constituents to continue working hard, because we said when we promised that more women, more people will have access to financial services and access to cash transfers, because we have seen how important this is in strengthening and empowering women particularly, and even disabled in our country. So we also would like, and I'm happy that the Deputy Minister 1 of the Ministry of Finance is a woman, would also like the Ministry of Finance in this Supplementary Appropriation Act to focus on reducing tax for women, female businesses, and disabled businesses. Disability is a priority for His Excellency and for the game changers that we have all in our manifesto. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, for the vote related to various development activities, which is school feeding, I am also happy that the Deputy Minister of Basic and Senior Education is here. I'm sure she must be around. Anyway, this school feeding is also one of our biggest achievements in the last 5 years. We want to consolidate the gains. So 10 million, which is allocated to school feeding, we are hoping that it will reach all the other chiefdoms that do not have school feeding. Like my chiefdom, Barry chiefdom does not have school feeding. Beja is very close, like 10 minutes to Bari, and children are eating there, but in Bari, children are not eating. And they are hungry. Everybody's hungry in this country. So our game changer, which is Feed Salon, is focusing on growing what we eat, but school feeding, for now, realistically, we cannot eat everything that we grow. We will have to bring in food through the WFP to eat. But this allocation, we hope, would help to reach every chiefdom. Every child in this country deserves to have school feeding. They must eat in school. So we are asking that this reaches more children, more beneficiaries. With that, I would like to say thank you for helping us understand where we are going for the next 5 years.
I thank the honorable member for our and that exhausts the first set of MPs here. I move on to that other section, and I will limit your intervention to 3 speakers. That's 50%. I start with you.
Myself.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I like white.
What of blue?
Blue start on.
Mr. Speaker, Honorable members, I want to thank the Minister and team for putting this supplementary budget together. The Minister made use of the sub-regulation 2, regulation 25 of the Public Financial Management Regulation 2018, which provides that the supplementary estimate shall be accompanied by justification for its approval. And the Minister did that very well in that regulation, according to the regulation 2018. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to quickly look at few vote lines. We have been battling back and forth with this over the years when we have the budget debate here and even on radio with colleagues on the other side, that the Minister did not throw light on. I want him to look at that because the public will just look at the absolute figure and go with that. When he talked about the 106, but 106, he talked of Office of the Chief Minister. The amount there you see, previously if you look at the budget estimate, it tells you the sector that falls under that particular category. Like initially, because I don't have the estimate with me now, previously it talks about the presidential infrastructure, all that falls under Office of the Chief Minister. But for this one, I don't have the details with me, so maybe the Minister will throw light on that because we have the absolute figure just stated 10 million new news. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I want to look at vote 133, vote 135, Minister of Information, Ministry of Communication. We approved a budget here for 2023 for a ministry that combines the two that has been separated. And I want the Minister to look at what we approved and what he has separated to see whether there is mismatch or he has put more money on one line than the other based on what we approved last. That is for his, maybe when he's making comment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I look at 206, 207, the Sierra Leone Police, the Sierra Leone Cultural Center, and the National Fire Authority 208. All of these agencies, we provided money for them in this supplementary, but maybe the Minister will throw light on this. I have not seen money allocated for the supervised ministry because when you have these agencies having money to implement, the supervised ministry must be adequately financed to supervise the implementation of those funds. That's the Minister of Internal Affairs. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I will now take you to the Ministry of Health and Sanitation. Here you have 45,200, which represent 1.23% of this total monies allocated for this 2023 supplementary. And the Ministry of Health, if you go to the Abuja Declaration, Mr. Minister knows that. I think we are signatory to that declaration. We are talking about moving towards 15%
of our budget to health. That goes in for agriculture under the Maputo Protocol. I want us to be looking at those areas when we